Hello friends, and a warm welcome to our channel. Global politics is exactly like a game of chess. What we see on the outside is rarely what is actually happening behind the scenes. Recently, the whole world watched closely as the terrifying military escalation between Israel and Iran unfolded. Many assumed that in the face of massive attacks on Iran, its most powerful allies, Russia and China, would inevitably step onto the battlefield. With America standing firmly by Israel's side, there was a massive global fear that this could spiral into World War III. But what was the reality? While Iran faced severe military threats, Russia and China adopted a strict policy of silence. They merely issued media statements urging both sides to de-escalate, but they did not send their military forces or state-of-the-art weaponry directly to the battlefield on Iran's behalf. At first glance, this might look like a massive betrayal of Iran, but behind this silence lie several profound geopolitical and economic factors. Today, in this video, we are going to expose that hidden truth. Why did these two global superpowers leave Iran all alone? We will analyze this in detail under 4 main reasons. Make sure to stick around until the end of the video, because this story will help you understand the true, ruthless nature of international politics. Number 1. China's economic reliance and the need for Middle Eastern stability. The first and foremost reason is China's grand economic strategy. China is the primary economic superpower in the world today. Their entire focus is directed towards expanding their global economic hegemony. China's economy runs on its massive factories. But for these factories to operate, they require an uninterrupted supply of energy, namely crude oil and natural gas. China is the largest importer of crude oil in the world, and the primary region they extract this oil from is the Middle East. China doesn't just buy oil from Iran. Countries like Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, the UAE, Iraq, and Qatar are absolutely vital to China. If the war between Iran and Israel turns into a broader regional conflict, the Strait of Hormuz, through which about 20% of the global oil supply passes, could be completely blocked. If that happens, global oil prices will skyrocket, dealing a death blow to the Chinese economy. Furthermore, the Middle East is a crucial transit hub for Chinese President Xi Jinping's massive infrastructure project, the Belt and Road Initiative. The Middle East, catching fire, means the destruction of billions of dollars in Chinese investments. On the flip side, China maintains very extensive economic ties with Israel as well. Israel's state-of-the-art agricultural technology, artificial intelligence, AI, and cybersecurity systems are highly valuable to China. Therefore, China has absolutely no desire to stand up for Iran at the cost of making an enemy out of Israel. China's core foreign policy is to avoid getting entangled in foreign conflicts and to do business with both sides. That is exactly why they left Iran alone on the battlefield and merely advised them to resolve the issue peacefully. Number 2. Russia's Ukraine crisis and invisible ties with Israel. For our second point, let's analyze Russia's situation. In recent times, we've seen massive military transactions between Iran and Russia. Most notably, it was Iran that provided the Shahed kamikaze drones that Russia desperately needed for the Ukraine war. Because of this, many people naturally thought that when Iran was in trouble, Vladimir Putin would immediately come to their rescue. But in global politics, national interests always take precedence over showing gratitude. First of all, Russia is already bogged down in a massive, exhausting war in Ukraine, fighting against weapons supplied by America and NATO. Almost all of the Russian military's focus, ammunition, armaments, and economic resources are completely tied up on the Ukrainian front line. With a massive war on his own borders, Putin is not foolish enough to open another new battlefront thousands of kilometers away in the Middle East. Russia simply does not have the extra resources to spare right now. The second, and perhaps the most important factor, is the extremely complex and invisible relationship between Russia and Israel. Over 15% of Israel's total population consists of Russian-speaking Jews of Russian descent. Many of the most powerful oligarchs in Russia hold close ties and dual citizenship with Israel. Additionally, within Syrian airspace, the Russian military and the Israeli military operate very carefully under a deconfliction agreement so as not to interfere with each other's operations. Putin does not want to anger Israel and risk seeing Israel's highly advanced air defense systems and intelligence information fall into the hands of Ukraine. Due to all these reasons, even though Russia is happy to sell weapons to Iran, they will never send their troops to fight against Israel. Number 3. The fear of a direct conflict with the United States. The third subtopic brings us to the American factor, which plays the ultimate role in this entire conflict. As we all know, Israel is America's primary and most heavily protected ally in the Middle East. Israel holds an immense amount of influence within American politics. The United States considers any attack that threatens Israel's existence as a direct attack on its own national security. Because of this, America has fully deployed its air and naval power to the Middle East to defend Israel. Russia and China understand this reality perfectly well. If they were to send troops directly or intervene in the crossfire to protect Iran, it would mean stepping into a face-to-face military confrontation with the United States Armed Forces. That is the direct recipe for World War III and a potential nuclear conflict. No matter how large China's military is, they're still not ready to wage a global-scale war against America. China's military objectives are entirely centered around Taiwan, not the Middle East. Even for Russia, getting into a direct war with America at this very moment is sheer suicide. All of these powerful countries clearly know where their red lines are. The leaders in Beijing and Moscow are simply not prepared to get hit by a nuclear strike on behalf of Iran. Not getting entangled in other people's wars at the risk of their own national security is a fundamental policy of these nations. Number 4. The geopolitical strategy to weaken and control Iran. The fourth and final reason exposes the cruelest nature of international politics. This is true realpolitik. In certain situations, powerful nations actually prefer to see an allied country somewhat weakened, helpless, and dependent on them, rather than watching them become extremely powerful and standing independently. If Iran and Israel go to war, and Iran suffers heavy infrastructural damage, it indirectly serves as a massive advantage for both Russia and China. As American military resources and attention are completely dragged into the Middle East, it becomes incredibly easy for China to consolidate its power in the Asian region, specifically around Taiwan, and for Russia to do the same in Europe around Ukraine. Moreover, an Iran with its infrastructure destroyed, further squeezed by Western sanctions, and completely isolated internationally, becomes a state that China and Russia can control with ease. In such a weakened, desperate state, Iran will be forced to sell its only major resource, crude oil, to China for dirt cheap, accepting massive discounts. They will have to submit entirely to Russian conditions to obtain security and military equipment. In other words, Iran, which acted as a powerful regional player in the Middle East, will be reduced to a dependent vassal state, relying entirely on Russia and China. This is a magnificent geopolitical victory that China and Russia can achieve at absolutely zero cost. That is exactly why they let Iran get pushed into the fire of war and simply watched from the sidelines until the situation benefited them. In conclusion, the only absolute truth we can take away from this story is this. Lord Palmerston, a 19th century British Prime Minister, once famously stated about global politics, "In international politics, we have no eternal allies, and we have no perpetual enemies. Our interests are eternal and perpetual." No matter how much Iran believed they would receive direct military support from the Eastern powers, the reality of global politics is that no country will go to war for another by putting its own economy and national security at risk. That is precisely why Iran was forced to face this harsh reality all alone in the Israel-Iran conflict. This situation perfectly demonstrates just how selfish and strategically calculated international relations truly are. So what do you guys think about this situation? What is your opinion on Russia and China refusing to help Iran? How do you think this silence will affect Iran's future? We are really looking forward to reading your valuable thoughts in the comments section below. Also, if you want to dive deeper into these kinds of unseen, behind-the-scenes aspects of global politics, make sure to subscribe to our channel right now. Hit that bell icon too, so you can be notified the second we drop a new video. Please don't forget to share this video with your friends so they can watch it too. We will see you all very soon with another highly important video like this. Have a great day, everyone!